What is the bike, year, make, and model?
This is a 2001 Honda Shadow VT600, the VLX 600. It's my first one.
First one. Okay, cool. How did this come about?
I came across this one on OfferUp. I was just kind of looking around, and I wanted to get a project bike, you know, for a while, because I hadn't had one in a bit ever since I had the Rumblebee. So I wanted to get back into the cruiser scene, and so I found this bike. And at first I thought, oh no, there's no way this is this cheap. But I guess the guy was really frustrated. He didn't do the wiring correctly, and he was really frustrated with the bike. And I picked it up from him for, I mean, it was a steal. So
he was too far in without knowing?
Way too far in, and he didn't really know what he was doing. So I think in his frustration, he, you know, said, you know what, I'm done with it, blah, blah, blah. Really, you know, just wanted to get over it. And so I took advantage of the situation, you know, and I came up, I think. So I picked up the bike. When I first got it, the tank was not on it. The wiring was in a box. Harness was completely off. It had no controls. All it had was, I mean, the bars were on it, but that was pretty much it, and nothing else was hooked up. The battery that was in there, you know, it was bad. It kind of went bad on me. So chain was completely stretched out. So that was, you know, that's how I got it. As you can see, there's a lot of oxidation on the engine, especially on the forks. And you know what? I think I just wanted to leave it like that. You know what I mean? I just figured, you know what? As long as it didn't affect, you know, drivability, it's going to stay that way. And ironically enough, it also had this lane split sticker decal on it already.
Wait, it was already on there?
It was already on there, man.
Damn, people knew.
That's right. Yeah,
okay.
That's right. What he did tell me was that he got in the weeds with the wiring, and I think that's where most of his frustration came in. So, you know, again, it's like you said, you know, you start these projects, and if you don't really, you know, if you have no real experience, or, you know, you're not quite sure what's going to happen, you know, that can be frustrating, especially if you don't have too many friends that ride either.
Exactly.
If you don't have, like, I can honestly say, if I didn't have the friends that I have now that I ride with, this bike probably wouldn't be running. You know, I've gotten so much positive influences from the people that I ride with. Yeah. And they give me advice, they give me, you know, help, and some of them, hell, I mean, shout out to Ben, who helped me, you know, basically put the wiring together. He put together a lot of what you see here for the seat pan and everything else. So obviously it's still work in progress, but he basically helped me get this thing started up and running. He was responsible simply for the wiring itself. You know, again, like I said, if you don't have those kinds of influences or those kinds of friends that are around actually riding, then this would be a harder task.
Some people don't know how to fully grasp that they can do so much, and when they get to a spot, it's okay to tap out and be like, you know what, like, let me take this somewhere, or let me take it to someone who might know more. Some people don't know how to swallow that pill they call pride, and just take it somewhere, because I would be lying if I completely did this by myself in a garage. Like, no, I had to take the motor to get rebuilt somewhere. I needed help with certain things. I did not weld everything on this bike. Some stuff I did. So collectively it'll always be your own, but it's okay to outsource. It's okay.
Like I said, if I didn't have the influence and the friends that I have now that do this kind of stuff, there's no way this bike would have been just, you know, on its own, would have been done on its own. You know, thankful to everybody that I ride with and all my friends that, you know, have helped me along the way. So as far as the rest of the bike goes, so the oxidation is there. I was like, you know what, I'd rather leave it the way it is.
So the tank, was the tank painted?
The tank was actually perfectly, I gotta admit that it was in perfect condition. It was black, and of course I didn't want that, so I went ahead and just started scraping the paint off. I rusted it actually twice. So once I scraped the paint off, I rusted it, and then I saw a little bit more paint that I wanted to scrape off, so I scraped off more rust and took off the rest of the paint. Now here's the funny thing. The funny thing is the rust that I didn't scrape off, well, it stayed. So it's kind of cool because it's a little weathered, and it looks a little aged. Again, like I said, this tank was completely stock. It was all black. It was really actually almost perfect.
The rust gives it some color, actually.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep it that way, and so I scraped off most of the paint, if not all of it. A lot of the rust is still present. It's still there, and I want to keep it the way it is. I'm going to keep this as grimy as possible.
It looks tough. And then, like, and I'm sure this is your own flavor, but like anybody in the world who, you know, we have an internet age now where we see a lot of things. What did kind of inspire this look?
Well, first of all, I've never had a VLX before. All the bikes that I've had, it was one sport bike, and then the rest were all 750s. And then I had a Yamaha also. That was an 1100, but they were all kind of, you know, the Honda brand, and my first VLX. And so probably the first influence that I had was I saw Young, for those of you who don't know, Rust in Peace. His Rusty bike had me floored, completely floored. I loved it. It was just like, that was, you know, when I saw that, I'm like, that was the one that said, hey, you know what? No, he didn't care about what anybody else said. I want the bike to look like this, and that's it. So I think that's where I got it. That's kind of where it started off. So I started, you know what? I want to start to, with this bike, I want to do the things that I like, that I want to see on my own bike. So that's where I got the idea. I just started putting parts on, replacing parts that I want to replace. If it was going to be rusted or if it was going to be dirty, that's okay. And just started, you know, going from there. When I got these exhaust pipes, I kind of got lucky. I found them on eBay, and they were painted black. So what I did was I scraped the paint off those, and it had this raw steel. Now the reason they're discolored is because of the heat. It changed the color of the pipe itself, but I still didn't care. I wanted to keep this as, you know, raw steel, as true as possible, you know. So that's the discoloration. Now you're going to see some discoloration right there, and ironically that is from my boot.
Oh, the lugs.
It melted the side of my boot. It got too close.
Can we do a boot check? What are we rocking here?
I'm rocking some lugs that are like, I think in the 90s these were big. I'm not sure if they were.
I remember commercials for those when watching WWF.
I rock them because they're comfortable to me, and, you know, I want to be, you know, true to myself, so that's why I rock them. So they burned, they kind of melted a little bit in my shoe, which is, you know, kind of funny. Our melting shoes chopper, I believe so. if I ride them, they are. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So so like I said, continue with the theme. Again, I stripped off the black paint from this. Whoever, you know, welded it, I mean, again, I didn't care how it looked. It's, you know, it's shaped a certain way, and it is what it is.
So these aren't factory, to anyone who's wondering.
Nope. Yeah, these were custom.
One-off, or is there a person who makes these?
You know what? I don't know. To be honest with you, it was just listed. I was like, hey, these fit my bike.
They look fantastic, by the way, because I know that the thing about a lot of Japanese bikes is that the diameter tubing of the headers or exhaust, whatever you call them, they usually follow like real small, and then all it is a heat shield over. Right. But upon looking at these, you're beefed out. That's why this sounds so different. Yeah,
that's definitely what's going on. Again, like I said, that's what attracted me the most, was the fact that, you know, it wasn't the same. You're not gonna. These are obviously not the stock pipes that came with the bike.
They look so sick.
I got lucky, so I saw them. They came in black. I scraped off the paint, and I'd rather have them look like this than, you know, that black color. So I'm sticking to the theme of there's going to be no color on this bike other than the frame. No color on the bike. It's going to be as ratty as possible. So actually, shout out to Anthony who gave me this idea. I actually saw him. He posted a gauge that he had bought. And I kind of like that idea because it's actually
for the coolant temperature, right?
Exactly. So I actually like that idea. As you can see here, I'm not running any gauges here that normally come with the bike. So I put that on there, and it's working out pretty well, actually, if you guys remember from the chalk ride. That was me. And now it's running great. I actually had to wire in a manual switch for the fan because I don't think the other one's working. The temp sensor wasn't working, and it wasn't turning the fan on. So I just wired my own, and it's been running great.
That's cool.
So
no such thing as running it too cold, you know? So yeah, might as well switch it on.
So I flip the switch whenever I'm in like stop and go.
I have the same thing for my Nissan.
I turn it on when I'm in stop and go, and then when we're riding, it's off. The headlight is funny because I actually got this one from eBay as well. So again, for those of you that don't know, you can still grab something kind of cool from eBay. For those of you that are, you know, brand whores and everything else, to me, don't matter. If it works and it's functional, it's going on the bike. I think this only cost me like 25, 30 bucks.
Really?
At the most.
Bro, you get a bulb for 30 bucks.
Right,
so that's
right. It actually came in copper. And obviously I wanted to, you know, have this go back to a raw metal look. So what I did was, again, I took my angle grinder to it and ground down as much as I could. As you can see, I still have more spots, and I need a tougher sandpaper to get some of these other spots, but it kind of matches the aesthetic of the overall bike.
What do you foresee coming in the near future for this bike? Near future?
Yeah, near future. As far as cosmetically goes, I'm gonna be, you know, doing the frame.
Like a complete hardtail?
Right, complete hardtail, where I'm gonna probably cut it here and have a pipe welded from here down to the swing arm, so it becomes one piece.
Not like how John's bike was, or is.
Right. And then, you know, as far as cosmetically goes, that's pretty much it. Engine stuff, the normal stuff that I want to do, obviously change out maybe a gasket or two for the engine if it needs it.
Like as far as running, but aesthetically.
Right, yeah. But as far as cosmetic and everything else.
Oh, so you're just going hardtail. Oh, what about bars? You said you have bars coming in.
I do have some bars coming in. I'm going with, again, I'm going to stay with the raw steel look, and the bars I'm going back to are the Jackrabbit bars. Oof. Going with the Jackrabbit bars. I like the stance. I had them on my 750 before.
Yes.
And they're turned up just a little tiny bit.
You like that?
They're comfortable just enough that I like them. Perfect ride height for me. And when they come in, I think they come in black, but I'm stripping them off. I'm stripping that black off. It's going to be raw steel, and I'm going to keep them that way. So
Excited to see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know. So as far as that's it for cosmetics.
Right on.
That's pretty much it.
And then other than that, riding.
That's right. Riding as much as possible.
Cool.
Of course.
Sounds good. And
Riding, of course, with
the gang.
The gang.
The gang. Awesome, man. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the food earlier.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
Of course, man.
And then this is where we cut and then
right.
make it seem all professional.
That's right. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. That's why, if anything, there's like unaffiliated. If there's anything I want anyone to get out of what we do,
Right.
it's that, like, you know, you're only as cool as you feel.
Right.
So you don't have to like look a certain way, dress a certain way, act a certain way.
Right.
Like, you just got to be confident within yourself, and like that's the biggest reminder to anyone who's into this. Cars, bikes, anything.
Right.
If you're that, like, be your biggest fan.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't have to wait for someone's approval before you think it's cool. Like, you don't have to wait for a rapper to wear a shoe to be like, oh, that's a cool looking shoe.
Yeah.
Did you like it before that?
Yeah.
Like, probably not.
Yeah.
So like, just, it's okay to trust yourself. Like, we're so influenced these days that,
I mean, that's exactly right. We are influenced in thinking what's cool, what's not, who's cool, who's not, who's pretty, who's handsome, whatever, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? You're your own judge of what's cool, right? You know what I mean? It's like these boots. You know what I mean? Like, these
are hard.
Yeah, dude. These haven't been out since like '90 or something like that. But when I saw them, like, oh, I gotta get another pair. Why? Because that's what I grew up rocking when I was a kid, and I'm like, hell yeah, why not? You know?
Yeah. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, instead of saying, oh, is that cool because this person said it was, do it and be that person and be like, this is sick because I like it.
Because I like it.
And that's exactly what we stand for.
Hell
So
yeah,
I'm glad we have an understanding.
That's what I'm saying. You know?